again to the Style of Success. I am Kelly, and on this channel we are all about beautifying our bodies and our minds so we can look and feel confident, stylish and successful. So this is the right channel for you if you want to transform your body and your mindset through style. Now, if this is your first time here, we'd love it if you consider subscribing. You can also press the notification bell so you don't miss an episode. And if you're already part of the family, welcome back again. Now, in this video, we're going to be talking about natural hair. And specifically, we're going to be looking at our hair porosity, our hair density, and our hair width. Now, I tried to do this as one whole video, but it was so long and I like to get information in bite-sized chunks. So I thought to break it down into two separate videos. So if you are more interested in finding out what your curl pattern or your hair type is, then you can click on this link up on the screen. Go watch the video there because I focused more on looking at our curl patterns and our hair type. But in this video, we're going to be going into hair porosity, hair density, and hair width. Now, natural hair can be so complicated, we all know that. And it can be very intimidating because there's so many aspects of natural hair. And sometimes we don't know what to focus on. In my experience, hair porosity, hair density, and hair width play more of an important role when trying to understand our hair type. But for me, it also works hand in hand when looking at your hair type and your curl pattern. But I always say this, don't get yourself confused. Don't make it complicated. Make it as easy as possible. Understand the different categories and then take your time to find out which one is more suitable to helping you figure out how to care for your natural hair. So keep watching this video because I'm going now into discussing your hair porosity, your hair density, and your hair width. Hair porosity is more or less talking about how much moisture your hair strands can actually absorb and how quickly your hair can absorb moisture. Now, we have three classifications of hair porosity. Now, high porosity hair is one where the cuticles are more open, and that means that hair moisture is able to get absorbed very quickly. But even as quickly as this hair moisture is absorbed, it loses the moisture at the same time. Now, for some of us, we have very, very tightly packed hair cuticles, and that means that moisture is not able to go into the hair very, very quickly, and that type of hair is called low porosity hair type. So moisturization is not the problem for high porosity hair. It's actually how to retain and keep that moisture. On the other hand, low porosity hair needs to be able to get the moisture into the hair, and medium porosity is hair that, you know, is able to absorb moisture and also is able to retain the moisture. Now, there are many tests to find out what your hair porosity is like, and there is the cup test where you can get strands of your hair and put it inside a cup full of water. Now, if the strand sinks right to the bottom of the cup after about 5 minutes, it's likely that you have high porosity hair. So that means that the moisture is getting in very quickly and it's staying in there just because it's still submerged in water. But if that strand floats somewhere in the midsection of the cup full of water, then it's likely that your hair has more medium porosity. But if that strand stays on the top of the water, then it is likely that your hair is low porosity. When I tried to use this test, I got varied results. Some of my strands went straight down to the bottom of the cup. Some floated right at the top, and I was like, what is going on? But this is not uncommon because even on your hair, you might find out that there are different porosities. But what I have found to be very easy and very useful is this. How quickly does your hair dry when you wash your hair? If your hair takes about 30 minutes to an hour to get dry, you have high porosity hair because the moisture has gotten in and it's quickly lost. But if your hair takes forever to get dried, it's safe to say that you have low porosity hair. And if your hair is in between, so it takes about an hour or thereabouts for your hair to dry, then it's safe to say that you have more of medium porosity hair. Now we're going to go on to talking about hair density. And if you are gaining any value from this video, don't forget to smash that like button. Now, hair density very simply describes how much strands of hair fall into a particular circumference of your head. Now, I don't like to go into too much detail when it comes to hair density because, to be honest, we can feel our hair. I just feel my hair and you're able to tell, do I have really full hair or do I have really scanty hair? Sometimes what I would do is I would part my hair in the middle and look at how quickly, you know, that parting gets lost. I mean, if your hair strands are very tightly packed, you'll notice that it takes you a long while to even get a line. But if, you know, it's very easy for you to part your hair on a line and you can see that line very clearly, then it's safe to say that you have lower density hair. And the final thing is your hair strands. And there are three categories for this. You have coarse, you have medium, and you have fine. But do not mistake this to be that if you have very dry hair, that means that your hair is coarse. The coarse, medium, and fine actually refer to the size of the strand of hair, and it's more or less looking how thick is the strand of hair or how thin is your strand of hair. Now, a lot of people sometimes try to say if you have coarse hair strands and probably as thick as maybe a thread, but if you have fine hair strands, then your hair strands are much lighter. Now, coarse hair strands are hair strands that are able to withstand a lot of manipulation. They are strong, you know, and they hardly have breakage and damage. But fine hair strands, on the other hand, are very prone to being easily damaged. They are more easily to have breakage or split ends compared to coarse hair strands. So now we've gone through the different classifications. We have the hair porosity, we have the hair density, and we have the hair width. I hope you've been able to figure out where you fall. For myself, I have high porosity hair. My hair is able to absorb moisture very quickly, but it loses that moisture just as quickly. Also, I find out that I have more of medium density when it comes to my hair, and I would say that I have fine strands rather than coarse strands because my hair breaks very, very easily. And this is really important because we're going into styling tips, and knowing where you fall in these categories will help you make better decisions. Now, for hair porosity, if you're someone who has more of low porosity hair, just like myself, you can use more of the lock method, which is using a leave-in conditioner, using an oil, and using a cream. Remember that your hair doesn't retain the moisture as much as someone who has low porosity hair, so you need something to kind of seal the moisture in when it goes in, and that's why it's best for you to do the leave-in conditioner, then you use the oils to seal, and then you use the cream to keep it all in place. For myself, even though I have low porosity hair, I have locks in my hair, and so I don't use any leave-in conditioner, but I use a lot of oils to make sure that I'm sealing the end, so that when I put moisture in my hair, when I use my spray and my spritz and my perfumes, I'm able to use that oil to lock the moisture in. On the other hand, if you're someone that has low porosity hair, then you can use the LCO method, and that method is using a leave-in conditioner and then using a cream and then using an oil. So you struggle to get the moisture in, but once the moisture gets in, it stays there. So you put the leave-in conditioner and then you use the cream and then the oil to just smoothen down the moisture that it's already in the hair. I've already alluded to this point already, but you know, when it comes to styling, if you have more fine hair strands, you have to be careful, and it's best for you to use lighter products. But if you're someone who has coarse hair strands, then you are able to use like heavier products, heavier butters and gels and creams that work for your hair type. But you always have to make sure that you understand the different factors at play so that you make the right decision, and you're not just basing it just on your hair strand, but you're considering your porosity and you're considering your hair density. So I hope you gained more clarity when it comes to understanding your natural hair. Porosity, density, and width are so important, but as I mentioned earlier on in the video, I'm going to link the other video where I went into detail talking about curl patterns and hair types, just so you have a rounded understanding and overview when it comes to your natural hair. Let me know in the comment down below, do you know your hair porosity, your density, and your width? Did you try any of the tests to figure out which one you are, or did you just use the rule of thumb of how quickly your hair dries? Let me know in the comment down below. If you have any questions, also let me know and I'll do my best to respond to the questions as I see them. If you gained any value from this video, smash that like button, share with your friends, and do consider subscribing and joining this amazing family if you haven't already. And as always, take care of yourself and I will see you in the next video.